Hi, welcome to our podcast. I'm Radhika. Spirituality, religiousness, and rituals. These are very commonly and randomly used, but what do they mean and how do they transform an individual? Also, these days, we often see people want to be called themselves spiritual and not religious anymore. It's become a fashion that uh, to be called really spiritual more than religiousness. I do not know why religiousness is seen in negative connotation, and also when it comes to rituals, people do not see rituals uh, helping helping towards getting towards the spirituality and more towards religiousness. So let's get clarified with our Swamiji today. Swamiji, firstly, help us understand what rituals mean and what are the pros and cons. How do how important for one to um, follow some rituals, whether it is towards the path of spirituality or religiousness.
Yeah, rituals, they're actually a part of the culture. Any rituals people perform, there is a science behind it. Every ritual has certain science. So any activity, it helps us in a three levels: one at a physical level, one at mental level, and one at a spiritual level. So any ritual has three levels in their purpose. And basically, ritual is an expressions of our feelings. Say, for example, on birthdays, you bring a cake, say your mother's birthday, you take a cake for her and make some candles on it and you tell her to blow. Now, why you do it? It's a ritual because where is a connection with birthday and a candle, birthday and a cake? Because it has a ritual, but that ritual is your expression of your love to your mother. So it is in one way, it's an
Celebration.
yeah, you are celebrating. It's an expression of your celebrations. Now when I go to temple, I also express my feelings to the Lord by taking some fruits to him, by offering some flowers to him. And also when you go there, then you have to offer him. When you are offering, you chant his names and offer. Say now you go to your mother or you meet your friend, then you have some appreciation. Wow, you did such a nice thing, you have achieved something very nice. So you appreciate. And after appreciating, you want something from that person, then you ask also. Okay, I want some help. So same thing, you go to the temple, you perform certain ritual means you offer some flowers to him, you offer the things which he likes, and you appreciate him for what he is. And in the end, you can ask for your request. Actually, I am in need of something. Can you help me? Now, without understanding the spirit, people do it. Then it's just ritual. But if you know the spirit behind the ritual, then it becomes spiritual. Now, people are not understanding the spirit behind it. They are telling that, okay, I have to keep a coconut here, I have to cut some lemon here, I have to put some akshata here, I have to do this here, I have to do that here. But they're not understanding what is the science.
Hmm.
So, every ritual has certain science. Say, if you are applying some turmeric in front of your house, it's actually antiseptic. And you sprinkle some cow dung in front of your house. In the olden days, people used to have, so that the dust does not come inside the house. The bacteria, because of the turmeric powder, bacteria does not come. And then there are some rituals which people do at home also every day. There are certain rituals like lighting the fire and offering some ghee in it. So it's a ritual, but it has a very scientific basis. So your house will be purified in a gross level also, because it's very sacred, and in a subtle level also you will get a good vibrations which will help your mind also. So all these rituals will have at a physical level, because for rituals the most important thing is you need to be punctual and regulated. You have to do in a proper way, so that will help us to be regulated. Because every day I have this ritual for the Lord. Say in your house you have to lit a lamp, you have to offer some flowers, and you have to do it every day. So it makes you regulated. So in that way you are physically regulated, and mentally also you have some things to do. So mind becomes regulated, which is very helpful to control the mind. So in a mental level also you are getting some benefit. And then there is also an awakening of certain feeling for the person whom you are doing. So in that way spirituality also is there. The rituals are helpful, but we should do it by knowing the spirit behind it. Any ritual, there is a science behind it, and we should understand it and try to do it.
Um, so, in day to day life, whatever rituals we do, whether it's for God or for the well being of one, where is the guidance? Where do we get the information for us to understand the spirit?
Yeah. So when we are meeting the people who are helping us, like say the priest who is helping us to do the ritual, we should take his guidance and ask why I have to do certain rituals. And there are some samhitas, there are some Puranas which are giving the guidelines for the rituals. If somebody is very serious, they're available online. They can go find out the ritual, what is the science behind it. They'll definitely know. Any rituals, if their mother is going and offering some water to Tulsi,
Hmm.
her mother is circumambulating around Tulsi, she is going to temple every Tuesday or Friday. No, then they should know, okay, what is the science behind it. Definitely there is a science. Even without the science also, there will be, of course there is a science, but without that also there are benefit, because it's regulating the person, it is making a person little more peaceful. And that is actually very very helpful, because everywhere there are rituals. Like say, now why in the companies they have, every year they have to celebrate the and like some festival, some things you are doing in the company. Now why the management have to spend money to organize some festivals for the employees? Every year they have to do. It's a ritual actually. What is the ritual? You want to express your gratitude to employees or develop a relation with them. They have to, they'll bring a cake or they'll make a party or some arrangement you are doing. So what is this arrangement? Basically you are trying to reciprocate for what the person is giving. It's also a ritual.
Yeah. So, the two things to a ritual. Let's say one is following one ritual. While following the ritual, as long as the continuity is there, consistency or continuity, there's one thing that develops in an individual. And when you break it for a good reason or a bad reason, there's something that happens to that individual. So, a person who is consistently doing, often they have that ego, I'm doing it, I'm getting it there. There's some pride that is added to their consistency because they feel they're doing great. The person who breaks it with a good or a bad reason, so from there the other direction starts. Like they start they tend to feel that uh, it's a kind of restriction to grow above, because they feel whatever they have done
Restricting.
is gone in water. I mean, it's no more of use, so they have to start from the basic. So these two things develop. So that's why I think people have an understanding, let's not even follow the rituals because it is disturbing mental state. That okay, it is a, a hindrance, an obstacle for one to reach something. So let's not even follow and get into the ritual process. So what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, people generally they tend to become proud if they are doing anything. They feel they have achieved something if they are doing, and it happens in any case. Like if somebody is doing good projects and other things in their company, they'll become proud that I am doing something. It is everywhere there. Pride comes for anybody who is thinking that he is the only doer, and there are nobody else who is trying to help him to achieve that. If anybody is achieving that, there are so many people who are helping him to achieve it. But people, if they forget, then they tend to become proud, and that pride is there everywhere. And but it does not actually nullify the importance of ritual. If I am doing something for my mother, I need not be proud, because it's my mother, I am doing it, it's my relation with him. If this person is doing any ritual, it is between him and for the Lord, or whatever ritual whom he is doing, it is between him and the Lord. Then why he should be proud? Basically, they are not understanding that it's a, because they don't have the spirit behind the ritual, so all this problem comes. So somebody fails to do the ritual, and they start making negativity about it. Oh, it's all waste, I lost my time and I have to start again, I didn't get anything. Yeah, so in all cases, actually, there is a tendency in people. This is called karma tendency.
Mm-hmm.
The people who have karma tendencies, they tend to go for rituals. They need to see something tangible to achieve something. So if I go to temple, if I just hold my hands and pray to Lord and meditate on Lord, then they don't feel it satisfying. So they should feel that some activity should happen. The pujari should come, he should offer some lamp to the Lord, offer some flower to Lord, or do some activity. Then they feel, okay, he has chanted my name, he has chanted the names of Lord, he told me to do some activity. So that makes them feel that, okay, something happened here and maybe something good will happen to me. So they connect with this type of tendency to the action that is going to happen to them. For such people, rituals are definitely needed, and but they should know the spirit behind it. If I go to temple and just deities are there, I take darshan and come back, I feel, oh, nothing happened. But if some pujari is there, he is giving something from the Lord and he's taking my things and giving to the Lord, I feel, something happened there. So this tendency of people is there, but they should know why they are doing, and it is actually helpful also. It is definitely helpful because it helps them to feel that relation with the Lord, and they need that support for them.
Okay. So are you saying whether one intends to become religious person or a spiritual person, basis the ground is rituals. I mean, one has to follow some ritual to achieve this or get there.
Yeah, there is definitely every spirituality you need some sort of ritual is needed to make you regulated. At one level, initial level, rituals are very helpful. And once the person crosses that level, then he may not need so much of rituals. But at initial stage, they are definitely needed because to make a person regulated, you need certain rituals which will help them to make their mind stable. Like say now waking up early morning. Now, if the child is told every day you have to wake up early morning and you have to offer a flower to Krishna. Now, it's a ritual, but now what happens? The child becomes regulated. So his mind knows, okay, then we can ask, Arey, my dear son, why you did not wake up? No, today you did wake up late and you did not offer. So that's why at the age of 7 only there is a Upanayana. There is a there is a sacred thread ceremony that is done to the children so that they become regulated. So the everyday morning they have to chant the name of Gayatri and they have to pray to sun god. So it should be done in Brahma Muhurta time. So that helps the child to be regulated. In that way he is very neat and clean. He is doing his things nicely, and whenever he stops doing it, immediately he feels guilty. Or I am not doing it. It's a ritual, but it is helping the child to become regulated and all. So
It's
it is
keeping
definitely
one in discipline.
yeah, so it's a discipline. So initially that is needed, but slowly, when he grows, he naturally does. He does not need any ritual. He's naturally in a proper state, so he can do.
That becomes his habit. I mean, it
Yeah, it
comes.
becomes.
So, Swamiji, that for anything, whether it is spirituality or religiousness, rituals do play a very important role. Uh, does I think in one of our episodes you talked about yama niyama asana pranayama pratyahara dharana dhyana samadhi. So those yama niyamas, so the niyamas that you talked, so the niyamas and rituals are one and the same.
Yeah, yama niyama means there are do's and don'ts. There are certain things we are supposed to do, certain things we are not supposed to do. They are part of the activities, but they are not ritual. They are just do's and don'ts. Some things you should do.
Niyama and ritual is not the same.
No,
Can you tell us the difference between being religious and spiritual?
religious, it's a path to understand spirituality. Like everybody has their own way to achieve spirituality. How the religion comes is based on particular taste. So different places in this world, they have different languages, different cultures, different dress style, different food style, and all these things. And based on what they're having, they develop certain religion. Ultimately, they want to achieve spirituality. Now, everybody has, they worship the Lord, and they say ultimately we have to purify ourselves, attain perfection, and achieve the Lord. And then now, what happens based on their language, they have a different names for the Lord. Based on their culture, they have different ways of worshipping the Lord, and based on their taste, they have different methods. So all these things creates a religion. But ultimately, if you see, the commonalities will be there, that there is something called divine energy, and this material nature is the creation of the divine. And then we have to work properly in this world, follow certain rules given by the divine, and we have to attain perfection. So these rules are there in all religions, but the way they do it is based on their culture. Their ultimately they want to attain spirituality. Spirituality is basically the connection between us and the divine. So that is spirituality, some connection with the supreme energy and ourselves. In our case we say it's Krishna. Now for Christianity they say Christos. That word then comes Christ. From Christos, the word Christos comes Christ. And then Islam they say no, it's Allah. Now it's a different connotation of the same person they are addressing. They are addressing one supreme being or supreme energy for some people based on their language. It's ultimately the religions are meant to attain that spirituality, but religion is because of all these different aspects.
Can somebody be spiritual and not be religious? Without being religious, can somebody go towards the spiritual path?
You have to have some path. Say, without going to a college, can I get my degree? Can I become a doctor? Very less possibility. You have to have some things you have to follow, because you cannot reinvent the wheel. No, if you want to do a program, you say I'll create my own laptop. No, why to waste so much time? Already some method is there. Already some research is done. Already somebody made the laptop. Just utilize it and do the program, and then you can get your things done. Now, if I want to make a movie, I need not go start doing a research how to make a camera and invent a new camera and start making it. I just have to take already which is there in the market and start doing it. So there are already work is done on it. From there you develop it, you take help of it, and you can practice it. So there are certain rules and regulations that are given. We have to follow, and then we can attain.
Just want to hear some of your comments about the trend that I see. Why do people don't like themselves to call religious anymore? I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. That's what they want. Not. Why do you think religiousness is not seen as a positive thing these days? Especially, they love to be called themselves in spiritual zone. I'm very spiritual. That's how they talk.
Because what they see religious is, they see it's more of sentimental, because they are not knowing the purpose in behind what activities they are doing. So it looks like more of a sentimental. If you are doing any activity, say somebody is doing some sacrifice at home or going to temple and getting some puja done, or doing, doing any of these things, they look that there is no science behind it, because they are not able to see the science behind it. It looks like more sentimental, and some ladies from the house or some grandmother and some elderly mothers, it's meant for them only, because they don't need any science behind it, they just need to do something. So it looks more of a sentimental thing than any science behind it, because people don't see any science and they don't know reason behind it. They don't want to identify themselves as some religious people. And but they also, from core of their hand, there is a need to be connected to some divine. Now they want to get connected, but they don't want to connect through rituals. So then they say, okay, I am spiritual, I meditate, I try to accept something, I try to understand something by reading my own way. Like, people try to tend to use some other means to connect themselves to the divine, but without the rituals, because they feel it's more sentimental.
Also, I feel that, very honestly, people see it's an excuse to all these actions. Spiritual people who are calling themselves as spiritual, I think it's the actions and activities they want to excuse. One. Number two, they also think religious people waste a lot of times in all these things. Whereas I understand that these things help us elevate to the next level. They make our path very easy.
It's need not be many of the rituals, they are which people presently they are doing. Actually, it should help. Ritual is definitely helpful, but what presently people are doing, it is not giving them any spiritual benefits. They are just doing for some mental satisfaction or some emotional satisfactions. But if they do it with proper spirit, say if they go to temple and some puja is performed, but none of them know the what is the meaning of what they are doing. They don't know the meaning of the mantras, they don't know meaning of the ritual. If they're doing it, just some mental satisfaction, they don't get anything out of it.
So, very good point that you said, Swamiji. I often see people, including family, friends, us, that all the festivals we want to take the celebration part. We do not, we are not interested in knowing what the reason behind this celebration. Any festival, let's take Ganpati festival. We want to enjoy the 9-day program, fun part, not the reason part for which actually would help us live a better life with our family, parents. Any festival, Durga Ma Puja, 9 days. I'm sure every festival had has a great reasoning behind that, and we want to take the event part, fun part, and take a picture of it, put a status, dress up properly, and do that. So it's become more of an eventful thing, not uh, living a better life, understanding the reasons behind the festival.
Yeah, now people are not interested much. The purpose of life is meant to enjoy. That's what is the goal and enjoyment. So wherever you get from Ganpati, you may get something, you may get some enjoyment through
Navratri,
Navaratri, or wherever you get
kite
your enjoyment.
festival.
Yeah, you are trying to enjoy, not knowing Holi or Diwali or anything. So they are more interested in their own way of enjoyment. They are not
Enjoyment.
interested in really what exactly is the purpose behind it, because what happens is the training part that is given is just enjoy life. That's what is told, and wherever enjoyment comes, people are interested in it. Now previously it was not like that. The purpose of life was different. Purpose of life was responsibility, and people had responsibility because they are responsible for their life. They want to do things in a responsible way, and they want to take help. So if you want to fulfill your desires, you go to Durga. If you want to develop some skills, you worship Ganesh. And if you want something, now they know what is the purpose behind it, why they are doing. So now instead of doing anything for Ganesh, they're doing themselves for themselves only. All these extra activities which they do, it's to give themselves pleasure. Whether Ganapati is getting pleasure or not, nobody is bothered. So the point here is, because what happened, the premises we discuss also, that is changed. Now it is discussed that okay, better you try to enjoy in this world whatever way possible, and then whatever comes my way. No, today no, I will celebrate anything which will make me fun. That's what I want. New Year comes, I celebrate. Any other things comes, wherever there is celebrations, wherever there is music, wherever they can dance, wherever there is food, and that's what is people are considered. And they are not interested because they don't it feel relevant for them now, because the purpose is changed. If I feel the relevance of it, then I may work in that direction, but I don't feel any relevance for me. Why it is needed? Because the training itself is given in a wrong way. You're told purpose of life is to enjoy, purpose of life is fun. No, the purpose of life is not fun and enjoyment. Purpose of life is to be responsible and try to gain higher knowledge. If that is there, then people will take things in a different way and try to do, knowing what exactly I am going to get benefit out of it.
Very well said, Swamiji. So, uh, can somebody be just religious and still reach the love for God, or get closer to God without being spiritual? Just following the rituals, following consistently some disciplines, and just being in that state, can they be close to God?
They need to definitely understand the spirit behind what the rituals they are doing. That is very much needed. Otherwise, it is not possible. They just some mental satisfaction they get. There may be some regulated and mode of goodness life, but definitely they are not going to. It takes actually quite a long, because even though the rituals which they are doing, it need not be spiritual. You can do rituals to get something material also. Like I am doing some puja, I want to become rich. I am doing some puja so that I get a good wife or a good husband or good this thing. It is nothing to do with spirituality. It is just a ritual to get something material.
Okay, for example, if I take my own self, I do follow a lot of things, and I tried my best, but yet times when I failed doing it, it did bother me that okay, so I'm few steps back. I was so good at this, and I lost the track, and I missed it. So I also feel that getting into some rituals, end of the day, it kind of, because of the work life, corporate life, or the traveling, with some reasons I end up missing few. So it bothers me a little bit, not anymore, but I also started thinking along the lines that I should just be spiritual. Getting into this, rituals or religiousness is taking me away, and it's bothering me here. How do I change in me that? Can I say firstly, it's okay if I miss something, I'll start. I'm still there. Can I assume like that and continue my rituals, keeping myself calm? Is that simple? Or would you say no, I just go back and then go back to wherever I started, then I have to start it back? So how do I help myself to continue this religiousness, uh, so that I could reach next level?
See, what happens is people, na, another thing I wanted to share is people do rituals because they want some miracles to happen in their life. They feel I do ritual, something good will happen to me. So that is the main purpose for many of the people in doing ritual. They say, I went to temple, did these things, maybe Lord will do some miracle for me. And people want something should happen because many of them they are not happy with the thing the way they are, and they know on my own I am not able to do, so I need to take help of somebody.
Hmm.
So what is the help? Lord. And how Lord will be happy? They think maybe if I do the ritual for him, he will be happy and he will do something for me. Basically they want to change, or they want to maintain what they are, or they want to change, or they want to get something more, like that. That's why they do rituals. Now some people they do rituals, like some cases is that they want to gain something higher. Now, if we are gaining something higher, it's not just some theoretical knowledge, it's an realized knowledge which will never go anywhere. Say, I have learned something. If I did some rituals or some pranayama, some yoga, or I've done some proper chanting of the names and with a proper motive to gain something higher, and that higher knowledge will always remain with me, even if I did not do. And why people are afraid if they break some rituals is because they don't want to upset the person whom they are doing, and they seem, oh, he is upset, maybe he will not fulfill the desire I want. So because the purpose which for which they are doing is wrong, so they don't want to upset the person. That's why they become upset. So see, if you go for a material way, then there is some loss is there. But you go in a spiritual direction that you want to gain some higher knowledge, some higher purpose and all, there is no loss. Even if whatever you have done, that will always remain with you. Wherever you start, you can start
So
from
can
there.
I tell myself it's okay if you miss something and it's not the end, and I can be calm and still
First,
continue?
you should know why you are doing it. If you know why you are doing, if you know why you are doing, then you'll not, you'll, if you are doing for higher knowledge, higher realization, that will never go. Whatever you have reached, you will reach there only. You are already there. It will never go from you. But if you are doing to get something material, then the person whom you are pleasing, it is based on him. He said, okay, he has done something, okay, let him continue from there. But if you are doing for something higher, because the tendency is there to have, to want to have some miracles or something, if that is there, then there is a loss. But you want to gain some spiritual knowledge, then there is no loss.
Okay, so I can tell myself to continue if it is for the realization and knowledge. Okay, these days I have changed little bit, but yet sometimes it bothers if I miss on some things. Then I also think, let me be spiritual, cut off all these rituals, religiousness, just call myself spiritual, and focus on a nice behavior, being humble and all. So is there anyone that we can see who is very spiritual these days?
Of course, there are many people who are spiritual because they understand what they are doing. They are very seriously practicing spirituality. They regularly, it's not spirituality. How can you know that this person is spiritual?
Correct.
Because if he is working at that level, at that consciousness that I am a spirit soul and I have to do my activity in such a way that I will realize that I am spirit soul, that person is spiritual. Spiritual is not just being kind, not just being truthful, not just being humble and no selfless. That is not actually spiritual. Spirituality is, of course these are all needed, but spirituality basically is first you identify yourself as spirit, that I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am spirit soul. Now if you are spirit soul, Now I don't have that realization. Theoretically, I know that I am spirit soul. I am not the body. I am not the mind. If I am a spirit soul, how should I realize that I am a spirit soul? So, to whatever activity helps you to go in that direction. If meditation helps me to go in that direction to understand I am not the body, I am not the mind, then you are a spiritual person because you are doing a spiritual activity, which is exclusively for the soul, for the spirit. You are doing chanting of the name so that you get a realization that I am not the body, I am not the mind. Then you are a spiritual person because your activity is in the direction of spirit. So, what exactly is spirituality? Any activity that is taking you closer to an understanding that I am not the body, I am not the mind. That is a spiritual activity, and whoever is doing that, he is a spiritual person.
Okay, for a normal person like me, if somebody says I'm very spiritual, when people say he's very spiritual or she's very spiritual, what are the minimum factors that is visible, immediately for us to know yes they are spiritual? Are
Yeah,
there any aspects or factors for one to understand yes they are spiritual?
yeah. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantirajam, acharyopasanam, saucham, stairyam, atmavinigraha. There are so many qualities that are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, which tells that this person is seriously practicing spirituality. So he is humble, he is tolerant, he is forgiving, and he's controlling his senses and mind. Not only that, he's also understanding the dangers of birth, death, old age, and disease. He's approaching a proper bona fide teacher to understand the truth. There are certain symptoms that are given, and Acharya Upasana.
If somebody says they are spiritual and somebody says he or she is very spiritual, and how do we know, and what are the minimum things that are visible outside in their behaviors for us to know yes they are spiritual? Some factors or aspects for anyone to figure out that they are spiritual.
Yeah, I explained this Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shantirajam, Acharyopasanam, Saucham, Stairyam, Atma Vinigraha. There are the symptoms that are given by Krishna that this person basically he is humble, he is forgiving, he is tolerant, he is controlling his mind and senses, he is approaching a bona fide person, bona fide teacher to learn this spirituality. He is understanding the dangers of birth, death, old age, and disease. And there are certain symptoms with which, and also this person he is free from envy, he is selfless. So these are the qualities that manifest in the person. Not only that, most important is what is the priority for him in the life. His priority is to gain spiritual knowledge, or his priority is to develop materially. That is also based on his actions also we can understand what he is giving priority in his life. Then we can say he's spiritual person. It not just once in a week you just sit and meditate, or every day you have 10 minutes of meditation, then you can say I'm spiritual. It's not like that. Not that they should, it will not work for them, but I cannot call them spirituality because purpose of life should be spiritual. Then only you can say you are a spiritual purpose person. Even though you may have some material activities, like you are doing job, you are doing other things, you have activities material, but still you can be a spiritual person because your purpose of all this activity is to understand I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am spirit soul. If you are going in the direction, then only you are a spiritual person.
Once you're a spiritual person, what kind of goals a spiritual person will have? I mean, okay, let's say one decided to be a spiritual and they want to be in that journey, they practice, they try their best to reach there. But what are the goals one a spiritual person possibly will have?
Yeah, spiritual person, he can have material goals, he can be successful. Like say Arjuna, he is fighting now, he has an immediate temporary goal that I want to be victorious in the battle, and he achieved also.
Hmm.
But that is not his aspiration.
Hmm.
That is a temporary goal. Aspiration for him is ultimately he want to understand, he want to develop a close relation with Krishna, and ultimately please Krishna and attain a divine consciousness. So that is an aspiration for him. But immediately you can have, say you are working, you need to have, okay, let me perform nicely in my office and do something good. That's an immediate desire, but the highest aspiration is not that. Like if you are given an option, okay, now you have only 7 days, now what you will do? Now I know I have only 7 days to live. then I will take spirituality very seriously. So I did not complete my, my desire of doing this, and so many things are there in my basket. I want to finish them. No, my checklist is so much big. I didn't complete them. No, it's not like that. We give priority to it. So that means in the morning when you wake up, the first priority is, let me read something, understand Bhagavad Gita or some spiritual items. Let me have some practice which will help me to gain that spiritual knowledge. So that should be always there. That should be the priority. And other activities should support our practices of spirituality.